Welcome to the video, everybody. Thanks for stopping back if you've been here before. Otherwise, if you're new, double welcome to you. I just thought I'd make this quick little video because I thought of a couple things and thought I'd share some principles and ideas that I've learned over the years. So this is basically some tips to improve your air compressor capacity and usage. It allows more air tools to be used, gives you better flow. And, if you're going to use an impact, it'll give you basically more power, so to speak, because it gives you more flow. So one of the most obvious tips is use a bigger tank, bigger capacity. Now, there's a few principles involved here. This is a pretty small compressor, not normally used for running big tools. You don't want to run a sandblast cabinet, stuff like that. But it can do a lot. This one in particular is 5 CFM at 90. So if you're not sure how that stuff works, basically compressors are rated in CFM. Generally, you want to know at 90 to 100 psi because that's where most of your tools run. So CFM stands for cubic feet per minute. So basically that compressor will output, in this case, 5 CFM. So that will go into a 4-gallon tank, which is pretty small. I think that one goes 0 to 125 or 30, whatever it is, in about a minute. And like I mentioned, one thing you can do is add more capacity. This is a 5-gallon auxiliary tank. You can buy these everywhere. I bought this one off of Facebook Marketplace for 10 bucks. Threw a coat of paint on it, and the other thing I did is took off the fitting. This is a 1/2 inch, and I just added this cross and put the gauge on there, and obviously a coupler, put a quarter turn valve on here. That way it's real easy to fill. Makes it super quick and easy. And what that does is this fitting here gives you maximum flow out of the tank. So any tool that you run off of here will get, maximum flow potential. The standard fitting on most of these tanks is one of these. There's the 1/2 inch NPT, and the problem lies in that 1/8 inch or whatever hole in there. That's where your air comes out. Obviously that won't do hardly anything for you. There's your or maybe it's that one, I can't remember for sure, but anyway, regardless, there's just no good way to get a lot of air through here. So yeah, you could add some capacity, but the main issue with airflow is you want to get the air from whatever your tank is to the tool as quick as possible. So the other issue you run across is the restrictions in these regulators coming off the tank, and that a lot of these switches, this is your pressure switch, controls the on and off, and the regulator, they're very, very small diameter inside. So if you could run straight off the tank, that's better. One option you can do is pop your valve out of there and put a T in there, and then run your coupler off that. In this case, I just ran with a T off of there, and that way you get a coupler straight off the tank. Most of these smaller compressors, you're only running 130 psi. You'll be just fine running all your tools straight off the tank. that won't hurt it at all. If you want to use the regulator, obviously you can, use that and set it, for some lower if you need or want. But like I said, all your tools and everything will run just fine off the tank pressure. Then this is an example of an old pressure switch, and if you can see the hole in there, that I've actually drilled that out, and that's one thing that you can do. This is basically just a cross, and some of them that you have might be plugged depending on the layout, but basically those holes in there are pretty small. I've seen them where they're literally an 1/8 inch in diameter, and obviously you're not going to run much air through there, and all you got to do is take about a 5/16 or 3/8 drill bit through there. Try to be careful you don't hit your threads of the actual hole, but that will drastically increase the airflow. Again, the name of the game is airflow. Get your air flowing through there. Going back to the air tank, like I said, this one I bought for 10 bucks off Facebook. I have another one that was 20 bucks, and it's a 25 gallon. It's actually from an Porter cable, I think it was, compressor. Guy said the motor just wasn't working. It kept tripping breakers and they couldn't get it to work right, so they just junked it and used the tank for a bit, and he just didn't want it anymore. So 20 bucks, got a 20 gallon tank. That's a little bit big for this size compressor, but you could still use it. If you want even more capacity and you got one of those, you could run, technically all three of them. You got some kind of a splitter or something, or you want to make something more permanent, whatever, depending on your setup. Run another hose. This is just a quarter turn valve. I like these. I had to replace the one that came on here. It was a piece of crap, but otherwise it works pretty good. So this gives 4 gallons here. This is 5, and this is another 5. So you'd have 14 gallons of capacity here, which isn't bad. It will give you a lot more run time depending on the tool. Now, again, this is not a replacement for a large pump, depending on what you need to use for tools and that. Again, this is still only 5 CFM. But you could run 2 of these together, or 3 of them, or whatever. Just depends on how you want to do it, how much air you need. Obviously, have a valve in there, and if you want to use quick connects couplers, it'll help. Or if you have something more permanent, just pipe them in, just hard pipe them or whatever. Okay, so another thing you can do is use high-flow fittings. This is a Milton Type V high-flow, and I'll show you the difference between them. Okay, so you can see the size difference. So the Milton Type V, that's a larger diameter. This is the normal Type M, I believe it is. The convenient thing is the couplers for the V will also fit the regular. Now, because of the size difference, when you kind of move the hose, if you got the hose stuck in the coupler and it goes to the side, it will leak a little bit. But as long as it's just sitting in there, it will work. Couples just fine, flows air just fine. But like I said, you'll notice a difference the way your tools run. So just upsize to the Milton Type V. Just one example is this. This comes with, there's 6 pieces, has like 4 of the male ends and like 2 of the couplers. Real nice little kit. I think it's 15 bucks or something. Otherwise you can buy every combination of the threads up to at least 3/8 instead of the quarter if you have something 3/8. Just buy them on Amazon or in some, you know, tractor supply store type farm stores, whatever. So I think that's pretty much the main content I was going to try and let you guys know about. Again, the main thing you can do is to increase your flow is add straight lines right off your tank. For a small tank like this, that will drastically improve the tools that you can use. Again, it won't do a lot if you have huge high draw tools, but it can make a big difference. The power of your impact and stuff like that. Adding capacity will increase the run time you have, but you know, a smaller unit like this one is actually oil filled, so it will run better longer. A lot of the newer ones are oil free. The oil is better, it'll last longer in general. So this is, like I mentioned, a little small for running a huge tank, but you know, for occasional use or whatever, you can get tanks really cheap buying them used. So yeah, if you have any more questions, you want to know anything in particular, all these fittings are just basic plumbing pipe fittings. You can buy them at any plumbing supply store, home store, whatever, hardware store. It's really nothing fancy. Most of this plumbing stuff is all very basic, very universal. Pretty much as long as it fits, you can connect it, it'll work. So, any other questions, feel free to leave some comments, questions. If you have something in particular you want to see in a video, let me know. So, catch you later.